Okay, so this is my critique video for the midterm assignment, and I'm going to start with my inspiration. The first piece of inspiration I found was this Linclair drawing, which is basically a piece of artwork that doesn't have any shade or value, and it's pretty popular in like comic books and comic artwork. And so I was drawn to this because I thought it was a very interesting style, very simple, very plain. And then I found this catalog of different textures in black and white, and I kind of related it back to the Linclair drawing. I started to think maybe I could do a drawing where I'm pasting different textures onto these white voids that are created by the line work. And then finally I saw this piece of inspiration, which was basically a black and white versus overly saturated city skyline, and the blues are really popping. And so I thought, in my drawing of this Linclair thing where I have line work and I'm going to insert texture into it, what if I have a focal point that's in color and it's kind of clashing with the rest of the image? And so I got this idea for my project, which would be I'm going to do a Linclair drawing, put texture on, and then have like a 3D object. In this case I picked SpongeBob, and I basically just clipped him out and took him alone from his image and pulled him into this piece, and he's going to be kind of clashing with the background that he's in. And so I picked like a very confused looking SpongeBob. And so if I go through this, I started with a white layer, and that's because I drew this like line work thing in AutoCAD. It's in perspective, and it's basically just like this little like room. There's a washroom in here, and there's something going on in the distance. There's a little building that you can see through the window. And then what I did was I got these different forms of texture, which I can open up kind of individually here. And I took these and I distorted them and placed them on the walls of things, so it looks like it's in perspective as well. So if I just go through and click all of these on, you'll kind of see it. They just start kind of popping up on the walls, and I used masks to I'd put the image here, and then I'd kind of distort it so it looks like it's going into the distance, and then I would use a mask to kind of remove anything that was outside of where it should be. And so I did that with all these. So then I have this textured room, and then I threw SpongeBob in there, and I made him a smart object so that I could kind of edit his levels of saturation and hue and color on its own without affecting the rest of it. So I made him a little bit darker using this smart object. And what I think I'm going to do, this is where I'm at currently, what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to give him a shadow, because that would clash with like the whole anti-shadow, I want to say, idea of Linclair. Like there aren't supposed to be really shadows and values. It's supposed to be pretty flat. And so if I make SpongeBob look really 3D with the shadow and maybe like touch him up in other ways that make him look like he's popping a little bit more, it'll really look like he's clashing. And I like that it's kind of this picture of him looking kind of confused, like what the heck's going on here, because he's obviously out of context. And that's kind of the whole idea of this. And then I might do something with the skyline in the background, because this line right now represents the horizon line. This is kind of the ground, and this is the sky, and you get a little bit of that over here too. So I think I'm going to do something with that to kind of make it give the sky a little bit more value and kind of separate it from the ground. But that's pretty much where I'm at. If you guys have any comments on how things look right now, if you think something should be bigger, brighter, anything like that, that would be great. I don't know how it reads right now, but hopefully you guys think it's cool. And then leave me a comment. Thanks.